What's up, guys? This is Titans Rossi. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to our first live show. We thank you guys for joining tonight. We're going to be talking a lot about the Titans, a lot about the AFC South. We had a few technical difficulties. Apparently, you actually have to hit the go live button to go live. I'll get it figured out. But anyways, we got some awesome guests coming on tonight. We have a YouTuber. His channel is named No Flags Film. He does breakdown videos of Titans players, of plays. His recent video is really cool. It's kind of like a take you to school on all the different plays and defenses and offenses and things like that. It's way more knowledge than I'm capable of grasping. But you know, football is a very mathematical game of sorts. But anyways, like I said, I appreciate you guys who have subscribed and liked the videos and commenting. The channel's going well so far, and I really appreciate everything, guys. It's been an awesome ride so far, and thank you guys for tuning in. Anyways, I'm going to bring our first guest on the show, No Flags Film. Titan Upload will be joining us a little later. I'm sure I'll see him pop in here at some point. So here we go. Here is No Flags Film. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me.
I think we got it right this time. We were actually I was sitting there like interviewing him for like 3 minutes and didn't realize I was live. So anyways, we got it now. But anyways, just kind of explain what you do, where they can find your channel and all that stuff.
Yeah, so my channel is No Flags Film. I don't think I've ever explained this actually, but like No Flags is from the Mike Keith Music City Miracle Call. There are no flags on the play. Most of you guys probably got that. But yeah, I do Titans and NFL draft film breakdowns. Right now I'm doing film rooms on sort of like retrospective on some key Titans players for the past season, trying to focus on guys that don't get talked about as much. So I've done Amani Hooker, Jayon Brown, Bud Dupree, players that people are interested in. You know, I don't think YouTube needs another Derrick Henry film breakdown. I think we've got it pretty covered that he's a good player. But yeah, just trying to provide a bit more in-depth analysis than you get on broadcasts or on sports talk shows, because I think there are a lot of people that are interested in learning more about kind of the intricacies of the game.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I know we were talking beforehand, and this is the first time I've actually talked to you verbally or through video or anything other than Twitter messages. But yeah, tell them about kind of what you do. I know you had mentioned you work for Pro Football Focus, which is freaking awesome. And I know you're a senior at Tennessee. So kind of tell them a little bit about what you do for PFF, what you're doing for college and all that.
Yeah, so I'm studying engineering. That's kind of my main career path. I work for Pro Football Focus, like in a very minor way. I'm not the face of the company or anything, so don't come at me when they have bad takes on Twitter. But yeah, just kind of like doing grunt work, like charting games, you know, entering in the fronts where people get contacted, you know, timing the hang time on punts, really meticulous and boring stuff. If you're really interested in football, I'm not sure that I would recommend working that sort of job, but you know, it's kind of, it was more just kind of a short-term thing that I thought it would be a cool experience. But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it in a sense, but it's definitely a grind.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. And that's, you know, congrats on being in school and being a senior and you're almost done. So that's incredible. Like I said, I've watched your videos. I love your videos. Every time they come out, I watch one. You guys really need to pop over and check his stuff out. Yeah, I want to shout out to the guys in the chat right now. Sin City Titan, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining. Raul Garcia and Sin City Titan will be on the show with me sometime probably within the next week. And Sin City Titan actually lives pretty close to me. So does Raul. They'll both be on the show. We're actually going to the Tampa Bay preseason game. So we'll be, doing some stuff from there. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to give a shout out to Pit Titan, Life of Devontae. What's up? Check out Life of Devontae's music on Twitter. I think he posts on Twitter. Clowny Super Bowl. What's up, man? Looks like he's a fan to your No Flags film. Thanks for providing a different type of Titans color. There you go, man. You got a fan right there.
Someone in the chat said I'm rocking the Belichick hoodie. I like it.
Titan boy, I just saw it. Titan Bay. That's awesome, man. Sauce Monster, what is up, my friend? Thank you for coming. Sauce is an OG. He's been with Titan Upload for a long time. He's joined my channel, so I really appreciate him and all the support. Titans Mafia, what's up? Another dude who's going to be on the show next week. So we're going to have a lot of people come on here. I want to get fans and stuff on here too. I mean, we're all fans, but that's what it's all about. So anyways, we're going to get into kind of what the video, I got a bunch of stuff that we can talk about here. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. So training camp has been going on full force. And of course, they were in pads today for the first time. They were hitting a little bit. You saw Caleb Farley out there. Julio Jones has not been out there. He's been hurt. We don't know how bad the injury is. They're acting like it's not a big deal. So hopefully that is the case. Do you remember what his injury was last season that kept him out?
I feel like it was a leg injury. I can look it up really quick. Yeah, it's, you don't want to jump to conclusions, but I think after the whole like Adoree Jackson fiasco last year, anytime someone has like some seemingly minor injury that in camp or something, I'm like, oh yeah, they're done. Which, he'll probably be back in practice in a few days and they're just being overly cautious. But, Adoree's got me paranoid.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it was like I meant to look it up earlier to see if it was the because like I said, I knew he was injured last year, but
it was a hamstring.
It was a hamstring. Okay, so it's not the same thing, and apparently there was a lot of speculation that last year he, maybe not been as injured as he was because he wasn't happy. I mean, I kind of honestly hope he's not that type of player that would just kind of quit. I don't think he would be because he never has in his career. So I hope it wasn't that. I hope he's happy with us towards the end of the season. Hopefully he, kills it this season and we win the Super Bowl and all's well that ends well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously Julio's only been on the team for a few months, so I don't know his personality as well as we kind of know players that have been here for longer, but every indication seems to be that he's not that kind of guy that would, quit on the team or that sort of thing. But especially just from his perspective, the fact that after this season, he has no money guaranteed on his contract anymore. Like he's going to be wanting a new deal if he performs well. So, he would have no motivation to, be like overly cautious. This is kind of a contract prove it year for him in a way.
Yeah, really. And I think he really wants to prove it this year. I think he wants to show that he can do it with a different team, that, that he still has it. I mean, you think about his body of work last year. I mean, he played like 8 or 9 games and he still had over 700 yards. So, I mean, he was still killing it until he got injured,
Yeah.
Sin City Titan. Yeah, it was a hamstring issue. Al Pierce, what's up, man? Al Pierce said, interesting comments from Bowen and Evans today about last year's D. Well, I watched Bowen's presser today. something about Bowen. I don't know if it's just me, but when I see him like being interviewed and something, there's something off. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of know what you're saying. I mean, it definitely is exacerbated by the fact that the defense was so bad. It's kind of like how Adam Gase had that really strange like opening press conference, but it looks so much worse in retrospect because he's one of the worst coaches of all times. Like, this he like has his eyes wide open like this, and people think he's a weird dude, but if he was taking the Jets to the Super Bowl, I think people would probably comment less on him. So I think, yeah, my general kind of demeanor towards Shane Bowen is kind of negative. Although I think that I will say I think the defensive coaching staff deserves a lot of blame for last year, but I don't think you can ignore the just deficit in personnel that we had with no pass rush and really no talent at cornerback. I think even if we had Bill Belichick coaching our defense, I don't think it's a top 20 defense last year.
Yeah, I don't either. I just saw Titan Upload is in the waiting room, so I'm going to bring him in here in a second. So yeah, if you guys, like I said, please go check out No Flags Film. Like I said, he does breakdowns of players. They're really awesome. He shows the plays. He gets in there. I mean, it's like watching a guy on ESPN break down stuff. It's really cool, the work that he's doing. So I'm going to bring in Titan Upload. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good to see you.
Hey.
How's it going, man? So yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever talked or met before, or I think I've sent you some of his content before. But yeah, this is No Flags Film. I actually don't even know his first name yet, but
James.
And he does a lot of cool breakdown videos. He's got, I think, about 1,500 subs. So he's
doing a great job.
He works for Pro Football Focus. He's a senior in at UT, right?
Yep,
at UT. So yeah, so I wanted to bring him on to kind of get his perspective on some of these players that maybe I don't have the perspective on. Maybe he sees it a little differently than us. You know what I mean? So I wanted to kind of start off with just a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like what players have you guys seen in training camp so far? Obviously, there's not a big body of work. They just put on pads today, so it's hard to really judge. But and we're only hearing it from the media. We're only seeing snippets. But what players have surprised you, Upload? We'll start with you first so far, just you personally.
I would say Chester Rogers a little bit because I was figuring that spot would come down to Kinsey or Batson, but we've talked about this. The more I've kind of seen this thing unfold over the last few days, it seems like Chester Rogers is getting a lot more action, so to speak. So there's that. And just, I know a lot of people want to be on the Racy McMath bandwagon, and that's fine, but I want to see him go up against someone besides Greg Maben. Again, we've seen all sorts of things out of camp, and everybody seemed to burning Greg Maben. Another one came out today, and it's just like, feel bad for the guy, but you got to figure by the end of the week, that guy's probably going to be looking for another job the way he's been being burned out there. But, I'm very excited about the defense. Breon Borders has looked good. We know that. It was nice to see Christian Fulton a little bit better the other day. And then Janoris Jenkins has been really turning it on. So other than that, I mean, we're just kind of waiting to see how this thing's going to unfold with the kicking position, punt returner, 5th, 6th wide receiver. Where's Josh Reynolds been? Those kind of things.
Yeah. And the video, there was a video that came out today on Twitter. It was Koharski or Wyatt. A lot of them post the same videos, just from different angles. But there was a certain angle, and I don't know if it was Wyatt. I sent it to you earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but Kinsey was doing some footwork in the ladder thing, you know, and he straight killed it. I mean, it was like, dude, I mean, it honestly, like, and I'm a Kinsey fan. You know, me and you are Kinsey fans. I'm also a Marcus Johnson fan. You know,
Yeah, I know that.
I'm a fan of many players, you know, but like his footwork today was just impeccable. I mean, I was like, golly, man, like, and he was super quick. And, you know, it's at this point, who knows? We hear Chester Rogers' name. We hear Marcus Johnson's name. We hear all these names, but we're just not hearing Kinsey's name. We're not. I mean, there's like 12 wide receivers out there right now,
Yeah.
you know, and I would say, you know, Kinsey's got to be on that fringe, you know, like he's got to be at least like kind of hanging around that 7th spot and like just trying to claw his way in there, you know?
Yeah. Well, James
so-
can probably contest to this, but I think a lot's going to ride on preseason and having preseason games this year, which for me personally is super exciting. I know for a lot of us that have watched the Titans and with these battles, it's last year it was kind of a throwaway. I mean, we couldn't see much. We heard Khalif Raymond was an all-star. But other than that, we didn't really get a lot out of camp. And then all of a sudden the season's ready to start. This year is going to be a little different. So we'll see how much Kinsey and some of these other guys play in Atlanta since the starters won't play. So I'm interested in James' take on how much he's looking forward to preseason and what he's looking to come out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say the number one thing that I want to see in preseason is Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, Julio, every important player on the sideline in sweatpants. I don't want to see them playing at all. You know, as for the biggest kind of point of discussion this year and every year is like the 5th and 6th receiver. I got to a certain point a couple years ago after being burned by falling in love with, like, you know, some training camp story at receiver. I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to have a strong opinion on the 6th receiver for the Titans again. So whether it's Kinsey, Batson, I just hope that Titans fans are happy with whoever they pick. I mean, I personally think for the 5th receiver, I would go with Racey McMath, who I wasn't really a fan of as a draft prospect, but to me, he's the only receiver at the bottom of our roster that really has elite traits. I think that he would essentially have to take a redshirt year because he's just so raw as an actual receiver. But he's really the only one that I see with some like actual high end potential. I like Nick Westbrook-Akine. I like Mason Kinsey. You know, people who are so high on Mason Kinsey have kind of gotten me to come around on him. So, you know, I think if you're looking at the 6th receiver as the punt returner, I think Mason Kinsey would be a good option there. You know, things that I've noticed in training camp, I think number one would be AJ Brown looks a lot more quick laterally, a lot more explosive. He's never really been someone that I would describe as a quick guy. He's kind of just fast and strong, but he seemed to have a lot more juice in the videos that I've seen of him. And a lot of people who were there live have said the same thing. And I think Jackrabbit is another one. He's someone that when we signed him, I was a big fan of the signing. I think maybe the reaction among other Titans fans was a little more mixed, but I kind of view Janoris or Jackrabbit Jenkins is essentially a lateral move from Malcolm Butler to him. I think you just got cheaper and, you know, pretty much similar quality play at the position. And then I guess the other one is just Caleb Farley being out there. I don't know about you guys, but I was pretty blindsided by the fact that they had him out there so fast. I was expecting it to be a lot slower process. So I think just, you know, it's not, he didn't really do that many meaningful things, but just the fact that he's out there is super encouraging.
Yeah. I saw some videos of him out there. There was like the first video of him that I saw. Now I'm sure this is absolutely nothing, but I saw him like running, and he like kind of like put his hand towards his back, and I was like, oh no, like something's already happened, you know. But then there was like
Yeah.
already like other videos that came out where obviously he wasn't doing any of that. But yeah, it's yeah, I think we were all shocked by that, you know. I anyways, I kind of want to move on to who, you know, who in your opinions do you think will be, who will come out? I know you're about to do a video on Rashaan Evans, and I don't know if you're like a big fan of his, or you just, you know, you want to break him down. But who do you guys think will be the most improved players, you know, by the end of the training camp?
I guess I'll start. I would actually say Jeffrey Simmons. I know he's a pretty like popular choice as kind of the breakout player, but this will be his first training camp, given that he was coming off of an ACL his rookie season, and then obviously COVID. And I think just that third year for pass rushers is so huge, and I think there's a really good chance that he takes that next step. I think that he was kind of, you saw when the biggest effect that Clowney had on the Titans defense last year was that when he went down, Jeffrey Simmons started getting double teamed way more often. And if you look at those earlier games, like Houston, Minnesota, Jeffrey Simmons was completely unstoppable because he was getting single blocked the entire game. And then once Clowney went down, the Titans didn't really have anyone else in their front four that had any kind of threat from a power perspective. And so Jeffrey Simmons was a lot easier to eliminate. So I think the first really full off season combined with an improved front four, I expect to see a, you know, significant improvement from Jeffrey Simmons.
Upload, who you think will be the improved players?
Well, hopefully it's Christian Fulton. I mean, for what happened in Minnesota today, you know, the release of a first round draft pick that quite honestly was on a lot of our radars, bringing Gladney in from TCU to the Titans. They ended up taking him at pick 31. Christian Fulton could have easily went at 31. We ended up taking him in the second round, but he hasn't showed a lot because he was injured last year. And hopefully this year he can take that step. Like I said, if he doesn't, you know, a lot of the pressure is going to go unfairly on Molden, who's a fourth round pick out of Washington this year. And, you know, he should be eased into this defense. And for what a nightmare it was last year on third down, red zone, sacks, you know, 29th and against the pass, those kind of things, it's kind of unfair. But let's just hope Fulton can kind of be eventually groomed into that number 2. And then Farley, you know, can eventually take over that number 1 spot. And then next year, we won't really have to rely so much on Janoris Jenkins.
What happened in Minnesota? I didn't even hear about that today.
Their cornerback got charged with basically he's facing up to 10 years and in Dallas, because obviously TCU's around Dallas, Fort Worth. So this was an ongoing case apparently, and they came out with the charges today. So he's got an uphill battle, and Minnesota said, you know, when it comes to domestic violence, we want no part of it. So they released him. I think Jeff Gladney was his name. I could be wrong. I think it was him.
Yeah, it was Gladney.
Yeah, I remember his name from last season. So I'm gonna go through some of the comments here, and then I appreciate everybody who's watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Thank you so much for your support so far with the channel and everything. We really appreciate it. And go follow these guys. I know a lot of you in here probably already follow Upload. I know some follow No Flags Film, but go check these guys out. They have their own YouTube pages. Twitter's very active and provide great content. So let's see. Clowney Super Bowl said, how has Rashad Weaver looked so far? I've heard some good things, you know, out of the Titans camp from him. I don't know a whole lot. I've just heard some things here and there about Weaver. him looking good. Kevin Byard, definitely. We definitely need him to step up. It looks like he's been stepping up in camp, really wanting to take on way more of a leadership role this year. We got Titan Bay, says Dez. Raul Garcia, shout out to Raul, says Ferkser. Pitt Titan, says Amani Hooker. Sin City, Rashawn Evans, definitely. Keisha Bible is in the house. What's up, Keisha? Just joining in. Hi, everyone. What do we think about Julio missing practice today after yesterday? You guys have any
I think
thoughts
the
on
bigger issue right now, honestly, is Josh Reynolds has missed like 4 straight practices, and you don't hear much going on from him. I mean, yeah, Julio long term is obviously the one we're going to worry about the most. But if Vrabel's telling the truth and the local media seems to be buying it, he should be fine. He was held out precautionary. Haven't heard much on Josh Reynolds, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I haven't heard anything really.
Yeah.
About him. I didn't even know he'd been out 4 days. I thought he only been out like 2 days or something. That's a little concerning. Let's see. Kinston Farmer. He's a big fan of yours. He says, thanks for doing this. No Flags Film is one of the best out there. I'd have to agree. Titan Bay. We talking about practice? Practice? Yeah, we're talking about practice, breaking down training camp. Let's see. Trevi A says, I think they're being safe because if it was major, it'd be all over the place. And you might be right there. I hope you're right. So we just talked about this, the Fulton. So who would you rather have at nickel? Fulton, Molden, or Borders?
Ideally, you would want Fulton if Farley is a go from the start. Ideally, I mean, that's what you would hope for. You draft him in the second round, he's the guy. Now, Molden, from all accounts, is supposedly going to be the guy that this is his advantage. This is what he likes to play, or what they're going to mold in to play. Borders, I see him more as an outside guy, so I don't really think he's going to be fitting that. I mean, maybe you could put him in there, but he played mostly outside, I believe, last year. So I would honestly go with Fulton.
Yeah, Elijah Molden's the only one of those three that's really a prototypical slot corner. Ideally, Christian Fulton would be playing on the outside, I think, long term. But with Janoris Jenkins and Caleb Farley, you definitely want those guys outside. So ideally, Christian Fulton would be the third corner, which would put him in the slot. As far as a long-term solution, Farley and Fulton on the outside with Molden in the slot would be my preference. And then, yeah, Borders, he's a guy that, I'm a big fan of Breon Borders as like a 5th or 6th corner, but I think, he's just so limited athletically. You saw him get beat by Donovan Peoples-Jones on that double move against Cleveland last year, and teams started just taking advantage of him deep. We played him in a lot of off coverage. We just have him, 8 yards off of the receiver. They throw something short and he was a secure tackler. So he played pretty well as, in his first few starts. But as teams started to recognize that he was a potential weak spot of our defense, they started attacking him and he kind of got exposed. So, and I definitely don't think that he has the, lateral agility to really keep up in the slot. So as a depth piece, definitely think he should make the team. But if we get to a point where we're relying on him to, cover guys on the outside, I think our defense will be in a bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, Fulton's got to step up this year. Obviously, I mean, we need all these guys, all these corners to come through. Really, that's everybody's concern going. I don't think we're as concerned about the defensive line. I know one of my players, to go back to answer another question, who I think will be the most improved is Larrell Murchison. I've kind of been keeping up with him. I know that he's been training with Chuck Smith and Chuck Smith during the offseason. And Chuck Smith trained a ton of like famous pass rushers I don't have the list of names, but I know it's some really incredible pass rushers he trained, and I know like he really trained with them. It wasn't just like a, here and there. But yeah, so I'm really, and they've been talking about Murchison in. I think he blew up a play today. They actually talked about the I don't know if it was Kaharski's take, but about how the defensive line was really, blowing up plays today.
Yeah,
so that's good to hear, because I think our offensive line is pretty good. I don't know, like Caden Thorson here says, is Dylan Rayden's the front runner for starting at right tackle? Is Rayden starting right now in camp as far as 7-on-7 drills and all the drills? Do y'all know that?
I don't think he is. But,
yeah,
but I could be wrong. They usually give the rookies a tougher time to get that job, but with only having one padded practice.
Yeah, I never saw like an official starting offensive line, but I did see a video where it looked like Kendall Lamb was in there with the first team. And that's kind of my expectation, is that Kendall Lamb will start like 3 games and he'll just, kind of be okay. And then they'll decide to put Rayden's in, because coaches like to, like you said, kind of slow play rookies.
Yeah. And and I'm sure it's Lamb's probably up there right now. I know Ty Sambrello came back from injury. Yep. I guess he was on the practice field. I didn't see him out there, but
the Titans, I mean, Tennessee has better offensive line depth than about any team in the NFL. If you look around at rosters, teams, there's really no such thing as offensive line depth. Most teams don't have 4 good offensive linemen, but we have Kendall Lamb and Ty Sambrello who have, played like full seasons for other teams. They're starters. They're both, high quality swing tackles. So ideally we would have our top 5 out there. But I think in terms of depth at the offensive line, we're, better than I can ever remember us being. And then see if Aaron Brewer can take another step as a backup guy on the interior. I think, we got some good depth there.
Do we know when he's coming back?
Not sure.
Okay, because I know they signed a center to take his place, and what's awesome about Brewer is he can play multiple spots on the offensive line. So he's one of those undrafted free agents from last year that really found his way with the Titans. And then Questenberry, or whatever his name is, he played most of the season at left tackle. So you're right. That's a good point about the depth of the O-line.
This is kind of a side thing, but did Dennis Kelly, didn't he work out for the Falcons?
He signed with the Packers.
The Packers. Oh, he did sign with them.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, man, that's one person I wish we could have kept. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's starting with the Packers.
I think he will be starting at right tackle.
I think he earned it. Like he played the whole season. We had a 2,000-yard rusher. You really didn't hear about him getting beat much. I don't really remember him getting beat a whole lot, So I mean, good for him. I don't know his contract details, but
it was like 7 or 8 million they owed him, and maybe John Robinson went to him and said, "Hey, you need to restructure," and maybe he wouldn't do it. Who knows?
Yeah, and I'm sure he probably got paid for in Green Bay too. So.
Yeah, and I mean he's going into the exact same offense. Matt LaFleur runs.
Good point.
Literally the same stuff that we run here, so it'll be a pretty easy transition for him. He's definitely somebody that I root for to have success, even though he's not on the Titans anymore.
Yeah, I liked Kelly. I mean, he was kind of a fan favorite in a way. A lot of people liked him, and he was another versatile guy that they like. That obviously Vrabel likes those type of players. I kind of wanted.
It doesn't hurt that we got him for Dorial Green Beckham also.
Oh yeah,
highway robbery.
Man, man. I was so excited we drafted that guy, and then
was that a Dorian Green? Was that a second round?
Yep,
he was second round out of
Missouri.
Who did he play for?
Missouri.
He went high too. He was a high second round pick, I think.
Yeah, I
But
was
he
excited
showed
about
signs.
it.
I was at the Jacksonville game where Mariota ran like that 90-yard run or 80-yard run. But that game was going back and forth, back and forth. But I just remember the play Mariota hit him deep. He bounced off a couple guys, and then Beckham took one into the end zone. And you're like, yes,
Yeah,
and it never did work out.
yeah.
I kind of wanted to transition just to the offense, and just something I was thinking about today with Todd Downey. You know, was he basically promoted to run the same offense as Arthur Smith did? So basically, are they basically just taking the playbook from Arthur Smith and saying, here, do this, don't screw it up?
I think he would be stupid not to do that. Yeah, I mean, the thing with Arthur Smith, he's really good at kind of like installing and executing an offense, but he wasn't really doing anything that different from what Sean McVay, Shanahan, Kubiak, what they've all done. I mean, he was running the same concepts. You know, he wasn't, you know, he didn't invent the wheel or anything. It's just a really good and effective offense that attacks the middle of the field, and we had the personnel to do it. And I think, you know, I think Todd Downing can come in and really just, it'll be a seamless transition. Obviously, like, he'll add his own wrinkles and stuff. I think that, I think you will see a little bit less 2 tight end sets. I think we might go 3 receiver more, just because, you know, Anthony Firkser is not a guy that can block defensive ends and linebackers. He had, I think I mean, it might be, and I was planning on doing an Anthony Firkser video, and I was like, all right, I'm sure he'll have some run blocking snaps that I can kind of break down. I watched the entire Titans season twice, front to back. I found one single run blocking snap where he was blocking someone other than a defensive back, and they didn't even run to his side. So it's like, projecting, you know, it's fine. I think that Anthony Firkser is a great receiving threat, but it's important to remember that he played in the slot 73% of his snaps last season. You know, they didn't have him out there as a blocker. And if defenses don't view you as a threat, as a blocker and a receiver, then that doesn't mess with the defense's numbers games, their personnel at all. So, like, you know, when they're wanting to run outside zone or play action off of that, they're going to have Jeff Swaim and Luke Stalker in there. And so I think people need to kind of temper their expectations on Anthony Firkser a little bit.
Wow, I love this guy.
Yeah,
he's a realist here, Rossi.
Well,
you know that what we face. I mean, you throw that out, you throw that same little clip on Twitter. I mean, this poor guy would be out of business the way Titans Twitter rolls. But yes, we've been bringing that up all off season, Rossi, about the fact that he only played roughly in 300 and so many snaps, and he wasn't making those big time blocks. Yeah, he's great for a third down outlet for Tannehill, but now he's supposed to be Jonnu Smith. And we got into this when Lawan went down, they kept Jonnu Smith back, right? They're not going to do that with Firkser. So I completely agree with you. It's actually, and you come prepared. I mean, you're watching film. It's not like you're just bringing in your opinion. So, man, that is scary to think, though.
And when I was looking into it, when Anthony Firkser was on the field, the Titans ran the ball 29% of the time compared with 51% normally. And I didn't really notice like defenses keying in on that. But if, you know, I think that's a potential tell that they might need to adjust to, because if you throw Anthony Firkser out on the field, it's kind of signaling that you're passing the ball. I think, you know, Mike Vrabel talked about how Firkser was trying to develop as a blocker. And I think that he doesn't have to, I don't expect a 26-year-old to turn into George Kittle over the summer. He doesn't have to become this elite run blocker. He needs to develop his blocking skills to the point where defenses still have to adjust their run fits based on you. Like, they still view you as a blocking threat. It's like with Jeff Swaim, you know, a defense is not going to adjust their coverage because Jeff Swaim's on the field. They'll have a guy guard him, but they're not changing anything up. You need to have that dual threat threat, you know, to really bring value to the tight end position.
Yeah, it's kind of like in Titan base, his defense isn't king, and on Ferkser, let's see, Sauce Monster says Ferkser is going to be really good in the passing game. And it was like last season where we would always take Henry out on third down.
3rd and 2. Take him out.
All the time. It was unbelievable. Like,
here comes McNichols.
I mean, don't get me started, man. It was just incredible. And they knew, you know what I mean? So it's like this year, you know, is it going to be the same when Fertzer's out of the game? They know what's going to happen, you know, or are they banking more on like having Julio and AJ kind of taking the heat off of Fertzer or off of that situation? You know what I mean?
And I'm not anti-Ferkser. It's more just that I think people need to kind of reconsider what his actual position is. Like, he is way more of a slot receiver than he is a tight end. And he's a really good slot receiver, especially because Tennessee runs a lot of bunch formation. So you have him really close to the offensive line, but still in the slot. And, you know, he's good at blocking defensive backs. And so, you know, he's bringing that dual threat capability there. But yeah, just, I think that a lot of people are just, you know, expecting him to just next man up, slide in. Oh, we got Travis Kelce as an undrafted free agent. And I just don't think that's the case.
I don't remember Delanie Walker, though. The only thing that's confusing is you go back and watch the Houston game a couple of years ago. It's the home game. It's the code blue. It's the every time there's a code blue in Nashville, we lose game. That was the game where Ferkser ran that little slant at the goal line and got popped. The ball came out. They intercepted and ran it. But if you go back and watch that game, the announcers make a really good point with him trying to block. And they basically said he wasn't a very good blocker. Vrabel said he wasn't a good blocker. And I remember one time Henry went to his side and he made a key block. And guess what happened? The flag came out. And then they kind of talked about that. But I don't remember. Al's right. Like, Delanie Walker coming in, we never really anticipated his blocking skills, and he did develop into a good blocker. But I think you mentioned Ferkser being like 26. This is not his strong suit. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. So I don't think that's going to change overnight. And the other name, to make matters worse, is Tommy Hudson. So a lot of people have him making the team, which is fine, but he's one-dimensional as a blocker. So it's kind of like Swaim's our only hope of being possibly a dual threat in some fashion, even though it's not really. He's more of a blocker. Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to be interesting what Downey does with that offense. And maybe he just throws Ferkser out there and kind of motions him somewhere on there. You know what I mean? So maybe he turns into more of your third wide receiver, but they kind of bunch him in as a tight end and then move him around as a movable part. I could see that happening too.
They used Ferkser in motion so often. I was about like 3/4 of the way through watching the season, and I wish I had charted how many times Anthony Ferkser went in motion when he got targeted. But I mean, I swear it was like 95% of the time Anthony Ferkser got targeted, they ran him in motion, which I'm not really sure what that means. But yeah, I mean, I think when you have a guy, the reality is that Anthony Ferkser as a tight end just does not fit perfectly cleanly into the offensive system that they ran last year. And that's Todd Downing's job, is to try to fit him in. So, I mean, Anthony Ferkser is a good player, and he's a really valuable part of our offense, but I think that's the biggest challenge for Todd Downing, is how does he navigate the tight end situation? How does he manage to still create mismatches and, you know, screw up the defense's numbers? And the last thing I'll say is, watching through Anthony Ferkser, the thought that just kept popping into my mind is, why did we not re-sign Michael Pruitt? I mean, we didn't re-sign him, and then he's sitting out there for 2 months. He's a better receiver than anyone besides Ferkser. He's a better blocker than anyone besides Swaim, probably. He's he was really the only like balanced tight end that we had.
And he wouldn't have cost that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Some of the decisions that J-Rob and Vrabel make with this team, it's that was actually, you know, gonna be kind of the start of one of my rants tonight. And I actually wrote a whole article about this, and it basically about the quarterback situation with Logan Woodside, Deshaun Kaiser. But the main gist of the article is like, what is Mike Vrabel's love affair with Logan Woodside? And this is something we've talked about a lot, you know, on Upload's channel and everything. It's, you know, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but it's like, I just don't understand, like, why don't we just go out and get some of these guys, like Michael Pruitt? Like, what's the problem with bringing him back on? I see we brought Stalker in, you know, and he had a good season with us a few years ago, and I just don't get why we don't. I don't know. Why don't we bring on a veteran backup QB? Why don't we bring on some of these guys that have played in the league, that are at least proven, and bring on a tight end that's out there. There's a couple guys out there with Trey Burton and Eifert. You know, they're out there. Why not bring on some guys like that? You know, if the money's right. I thought Pruitt was same like you guys. I thought he was good. I mean, he was good for his role. You know,
Titan Bay is making a point about 61 less receiving yards. And I remember that's the argument you're going to hear on Twitter. So, you know me, stat guy, let's go look at the stats, because sometimes stats are misleading. But the issue that presented itself was, as soon as Lewan goes out in Buffalo, the offense completely changed for Jonnu Smith. He was never the same guy. And a lot of times, if you're going to look at, okay, 61 less receiving yards, Jonnu Smith wasn't being targeted very much. So when he's being expected to help out your left tackle Quessenberry or whatever his name is, Ferkser can't do that. So my point has always been, that's fine. I also kind of view it as a pitch hitter in baseball. Sure, they could be like 3 for 7 as a pitch hitter, but now you're expecting him to play the whole entire year. So now we were playing, 500, 600 snaps. You're going to get more exposed out there as far as your blocking. And no, he's not an average blocker. That is another lie. Like, he's not an average blocker. And like I said, you guys made up the point that half the time he's blocking a defensive back. Now he's going to be expected to block a JJ Watt, for example, occasionally, or some sort of outside linebacker or pass rusher. And that's what he's got to hold up against. And if you decide you're going to throw it all the time, defenses will figure that out. Then they will adjust. So I'm like, we've been talking about, Downing's he's got an issue on his hands. I'm sure he can figure it out. Titans are okay. We're in good hands. Ferkser is a great threat receiving the football. That was never a question. We're not downgrading him, but to just act like he's going to step right in and fill in for Jonnu Smith, the Patriots didn't pay Jonnu Smith all that money for nothing, guys. And that's Bill Belichick for crying out loud. So that's what I got on Ferkser.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Ferkser was 6th in the NFL in yards per route run last season. So he was incredibly efficient as a receiver. I still think if we're just purely talking about receiving ability, I think Jonnu Smith is still way more dynamic of a receiver than Anthony Ferkser. But yeah, once Taylor Lewan went down, but especially once Ty Sambrailo went down, Jonnu Smith was chip blocking on the left side essentially every play, which, the quarterback's reads in the passing game are so much about timing. It's about 3-step drop, look over there. If the read's not there, I'm moving on. Taking 2 seconds to chip block the, left defensive end is just going to take you out of the passing read most of the time. And there were so many times that happened. They'd run a passing play they'd be in like a 2-by-1 formation. Johnny Smith would chip and just like not even run a route. Whereas first 6 games of the season, he was looking like he was going to be this incredibly prolific, receiving tight end. And I'm actually, I guess, pleasantly surprised for Jonnu that teams were able to see that. They didn't get caught up in his stats falling off. They recognized that his role changed and he was still, sort of a hot commodity in free agency.
Yeah, you bring up great points, especially. I mean, that's awesome. You went through the season twice to do to do your research on Ferkser, man. I mean, that shows that you're really putting in the work to
for
really
every
break these guys down.
I was having a conversation with someone the other day, wondering how many times I've watched the Titans 2020 season, because every video I do, I watch the entire season again and just stare at that one player. And I think I've watched 2020 like 30 times, which is part of the reason I'm so ready for this football season to start, is because I'm tired of watching the same game over and over again. It's kind of excruciating, but
That's awesome that you do that, though, man. I mean, that's way more dedication than I have, and I'm a diehard fan. Like, I don't know if I could just watch like one player's on it, but that's why you do what you do. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I want to get to some of these comments real quick. Al Pierce, he said that heard on Indie Radio Talk Show today Mariota's name as a possible Wentz replacement. Titan Bay's made some good points on this show. Can't have a superstar at every position with the salary cap. It is what it is. Very true. What's up, Sauce? Shout out to Sauce, man. He's a diehard. He's always in uploads videos, and we appreciate the support a lot. Hope that's not true. I love Mariota. He's the reason I started liking the Titans. I like him during his college career when he got drafted. So, yeah, obviously there's still a lot of love for Mariota out there in the Titans community. I've always been a Mariota fan. I hope he does well. I hope he gets a shot this year, it looks like he's going to stay with the Raiders. So yeah, like Raul said, with the right OC, yes.
I think I saw they were the Raiders were saying it would be a 3rd round pick for Mariota. That's what people were saying. I can't decide if, like, from the Colts perspective, I don't think I would do that. Especially if Wentz was out for the season, it might change things, but I'm not sure if a 3rd for Mariota is good value.
So if you're Ballard and your 2 options were, and you were going to do something, Marcus Mariota or Nick Foles, got to pick one. Which one are you going with?
Oh, Mariota. Nick Foles is, oh my God. I don't even care if Nick Foles wins me the Super Bowl. I physically can't watch Nick Foles play quarterback for 17 games. It's excruciating.
Man.
Has he even played 17 games anywhere?
He was, let's see, he got
injured. Has he finished the whole season?
He signed that big contract with Jacksonville in 2019, broke his collarbone week 1, and then last season he was with Chicago, and like him and Trubisky were kind of like in and out of the lineup. I couldn't really keep track of it.
Yeah, Trubisky started 3-0, threw a couple picks, and then they benched him.
Right.
And then Foles came in, and then Foles played a big chunk of the season, but he didn't win very much. And then they tried Trubisky one more time. So the Bears were a mess. And then now they've brought in Dalton. They got Foles, and then poor Fields is sitting there. Like, hopefully they play him from the get-go, because I can't imagine sitting behind those disasters.
Yeah.
So one thing that I wanted, we're getting close to an hour here, and I kind of wanted to get to this tonight too, because
doing good, man. You got 26 in the house. People should tightening up that like button.
Yeah,
come on,
tighten up that like button, as we say on the Titan Upload Network. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Like I said, we just hit over 300 subs in about a month and a half. It's been going awesome, and we thank you guys so much for your support. It's been really cool, Upload. Like, I told you, when I started doing the writing thing, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I could do a channel, man. It's a lot of work. It's dedication. You got to pump the content out there. I just don't know if I have the time, yada, yada, yada. And I just couldn't help myself, man. I was like, I'm such a fan. I really wanted to do it, and it's been fun so far. It's been a lot of fun. Like I remember asking you guys before, like, what's the best part about it? I was going to do I did an article about all you guys, and it was about interacting with the fans. Like, I met Raul Garcia's in the chat here. I met him through Mr. Titan, and he lives 15 minutes from me. We're going to go to a game together soon. Sin City Titan. He moved here from Vegas. He's in Tampa Bay. I'm helping him move next week, into a place near Clearwater. So it's an awesome community. It's really cool how it's gone so far. I wanted to get to, okay, so kind of last thing of the day, rant of the day, whatever you want to call it. And it's got me really fired up. I'm really just, it just grinds my gears.
Colin Coward.
Aco and Will, H.O. and Will. How do you say their names? Have you heard their show? It's on ESPN or one of those stations.
Are you talking about Emmanuel Acho? Is that
Acho?
Fox.
That's right. And Will.
Yeah.
And they were on today. There was a video on today, and this was before Quentin Nelson got injured. But they're on there, and the Acho guy, is that his name? Acho? Mm-hmm. He's talking about how, things could be bad for him and blah, blah, blah. But he's really not like, he's not like really dogging him too much, but he is kind of being somewhat of a realist a little bit. And then the other guy comes in and is just like, oh, the Colts are going to be fine. They're just going to be fine. Like, and even the guy kind of looks at him. He's like, I think they're in, they're pretty hot water right now, And look, I'm not wishing injuries on anybody. Believe me. I hope Carson Wentz gets better tomorrow. I hope a miracle happens and his foot is healed. I'm just that type of guy. I don't wish that upon nobody. But to sit there and say, oh, they're going to be fine. And then you got Colin Coward coming out, and there was a little snippet of something he said again. The Colts can win the division at 9-8. It's like, dude, like, what is your freaking problem? What is your problem with the Titans? Like, did you go to Nashville and somebody like spit on you or cut you off in traffic? Did you like eat some hot chicken that really burnt you up? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Why is this guy, why does he hate so much on I've never heard somebody in my 20 years or however long we've been in Nashville as the Titans. I've never heard somebody hate on them like the way he does. It's like this weird, it's just strange. Like it's gotten to the point where it's actually kind of weird because none of it is based on any statistical backing at all.
Ken said it's because of Chris Ballard. Colin loves Chris Ballard. He has him on the show all the time. So, and I know just from some of the comments he's made throughout his shows, I try not to watch him too much, but the one where he kind of ripped John Robinson and basically said John Robinson was just a copycat New England type guy coming in and wasn't working, which obviously he hasn't seen how the Titans have done pretty well over the last, I don't know how many years we've had winning seasons. Is it 4 or 5 straight and AFC championship game, a division title? I mean, we're obviously trending towards the right direction. So I don't know, man. It sucks because you're hoping to get a little bit of respect, and it's always about what other teams do, and it's never about what the Titans do. And that's always been the case. And I don't know why that is. So
it's the Chris Ballard thing is weird to me. I tweeted about this. Like, I think he's a good GM. Like, probably, I would say he's probably a top half of the league GM, but it's like so in 2018, he had a good draft, which Quentin Nelson was the best guard prospect of like this century. So that's it's like you don't give Urban Meyer credit for drafting Trevor Lawrence. It's a foregone conclusion. So he has one good draft, and then it kind of just became gospel that, oh, Chris Ballard, great GM, great GM. And then if you look back at his drafts over the past few years, there's really not that many hits. Like, Rock Ya-Sin, they keep trying to get edge rushers in the second round, like linebackers Ben Bonnigu, Paris Campbell, Bobby Okereke. Like they don't draft that well, but the narrative that Chris Ballard is this elite GM just kind of got established back in 2018, and then bam, that's the truth for eternity.
And Skidley Bop said that Orlovsky said even after Nelson got hurt, it doesn't change anything. That doesn't surprise me. Raul says, speaking of, hey, Adam Rank continuously shows us no respect year after year. I mean, we could go on all night about this stuff, all freaking night long. And honestly, like, I'm so used to it being a Titans fan that, like, it doesn't really bother me that much anymore, because the thing that bothers me is, like I said, is Coward. Like, Colin Coward. Like I said, that's what I call him. But, like, that's what freaking bothers me. Like, it's just, there's nothing behind it. Like, it's so dumb. It's so stupid. I don't even get why he even says the things that he does. It's ridiculous. And, like, also on the Acho show today, if I'm saying that right again, they were harping on how awesome their defense is, which, granted, they were awesome. They were a good defense, but they've also lost some players, some key players.
15.5 sacks. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. We know, Upload. We know, James. We know, like, if you don't get to the quarterback, your defense sucks. Your secondary sucks. Like, you have to get to the quarterback. Well, we had 19 sacks last season, I think, 18 or 19. If you don't get the quarterback, it's OV. Your corners can't run forever. They can't keep up forever and ever. It just, I don't know. I mean, they lost Justin Houston. We have Autry and Anthony Walker. Anthony Walker was a good linebacker for them, And it's like these guys on these YouTube channels are like, they don't even bring that up. They don't even bring that up, that they lost like 3 major players on defense, and they didn't replace them with, okay, they got Kwity Paye. They drafted him. But he's not proven. He hasn't shown nothing yet. And I don't even think Kwity Paye is going to be that great. I mean, that's just my opinion,
Yeah, and I think their secondary overachieved last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of those corners were playing out of their mind at traditionally whatever. I think their safeties are underrated. I will give the Colts that. And I do honestly think the Colts have a very good defense. I'm not going to diss them there. Really quick, the thing I'm concerned about the most with the Colts and having these early injuries is it's not going to give you a full reflection of what this team's going to be in 2021. So hear me out on this. So the Colts have a tough schedule. We know this. The first 8 games, I think 7 of them are tough. They got 1 cupcake in there. So if Wentz is out and Nelson is out for, let's say, 5-6 games, and let's say they just run the table and win 1 or none of those games, the worst possible outcome for the Titans would be Titans win the division, get a very high seed, and the Colts sneak in as a 7 seed. But Wentz is that what the Colts are telling us, right? The YouTubers from the Colts, Bring the Juice podcast, like, shout out to those guys. But in reality, they're saying Wentz is going to go back to what he was like in 2017. So let's play that out and say it happens. Colts go on a huge run, win 9 out of 10 games to finish the year. That would be a disaster. The Titans, who would have to go up against the Colts as a 2 seed, and the Colts are a 7 seed. So that is the one thing that yes, I want to get there. I want to win the division. I want to have a high seed. Not going to worry about the Colts in that regard, but I'm just saying, come playoff time, who came in pretty hot last year? It was the Ravens. Who do we play? The Ravens in round 1. I would say the Browns were another team that came in hot. So that's the only thing I'm saying, and let you guys kind of finish it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Colts defense, I would actually kind of compare it in caliber to like the Titans defense from like 2017, 2018, back in those days. It was kind of like an 8-12 defense. I think I definitely agree with you. Safeties are underrated, but if you look at corner, they have Kenny Moore in the slot, who's really good, but not really much on the outside. If you follow me on Twitter, I try to limit myself to one Darius Leonard tweet a week, but I think he's the most overrated player in the NFL. And then you've got DeForest Buckner, who's really good, and Kwity Paye. I mean, Chase Young had like one of the best seasons for an edge rusher, rookie seasons for an edge rusher last year, and I think he had like 42 pressures, 6 sacks. Like edge rushers take a few years to really have an impact. And Kwity Paye is not the kind of prospect that Chase Young was. So yeah, I think the defense is good. Like you're not complaining about the defense if you're a Colts fan, but I don't think it's enough to make up for their kind of lackluster offense, especially if you've got Jacob Eason at quarterback, because their weapons are pretty average. Jonathan Taylor's good, but yeah, I don't know. The Colts are just not a team that scares me. To me, maybe I'm buying into the hype, but like the Browns do kind of scare me. I think that the Browns are kind of like, outside of the Chiefs, which I think everyone would agree is the best team in the AFC. I think the Browns are the biggest threat to the Titans for that second spot. And I think if you look at power rankings, the Bills are number 3 in every single power ranking. I just don't see it with the Bills. I think they're kind of overrated. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on the like AFC kind of tiers. I think Ravens, Titans, Bills, Browns are in a similar group.
Yeah, I think Cleveland's probably gonna be pretty good this year. They might make that step up again to where they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with. I think Kansas City, they're gonna be good, but I don't know. I don't think they're gonna be. I don't know. I just don't think they're gonna be Super Bowl caliber this year.
Who's that? The Browns?
No, the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
It is kind of cute to see Browns fans going through the same process of getting excited about Jadeveon Clowney that we all went through last offseason. Like, oh no, he really came to training camp like good head on his shoulders, really ready to work. Like, oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, he already tripped over the pad. I saw that a couple days ago. So
yeah, that was hilarious. I saw that too.
Yes, Titans Mafia. That is like so true. I've read so many power rankings talking about like, it's okay if you think the Bills are better than the Titans and you put them above them, that's fine. But I've seen so many comments about how like the Bills are just in this tier above the Titans, and it's like, I hate using the argument of like, oh, this team's not better, they beat them last season, but like we completely dominated them last season. If anything, we're in the same tier. But I just, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I just don't really see it with the Bills.
The Bills got to be non-one dimensional in offense for me to give them a serious push. So like Cleveland has a very good 1-2 punch at running back, and they have a decent tight end, and they have decent receivers. And if Baker plays okay, their defense is pretty solid too. So I see Cleveland as more of a well-rounded threat. Obviously, Baltimore, we'll see what they do. Pittsburgh, I think time's kind of passed them by, but somebody mentioned that, I think Al mentioned that, Buffalo's going to have a tough time in their own division. We'll see what happens with Miami and Tua. I thought at least their defense is pretty good. But New England, a lot of people forget like how many guys were on. They didn't play. They just opted out last year. And then New England went out and spent a ton of money in the offseason. Doesn't always work out, but I do think New England's going to be obviously more of a threat to Buffalo this year.
Yeah, I think in the short term, like next couple seasons, I think New England is definitely going to be a really good team. their spinning spree that they went on last offseason, I would not be happy with if I was a Patriots fan, because I think that's the kind of thing that will come back to bite them. It's the kind of thing that Bill Belichick avoided for the past 15 years, and it's why they've been able to have the type of longevity that they've had. As far as Cleveland, like, and the question that was on the screen earlier, as far as how a matchup would play out, I mean, I think that so much of it depends on, number one, the health of our secondary, and number two, the development of our secondary. I think Cleveland and Tennessee actually are in pretty similar situations with their defensive backfield. They have a lot of young talent that's unproven, and I think if the Titans' young defensive backs, Caleb Farley, Elijah Molden, Christian Fulton, if they all pan out as being really good players, I think you're still going to see a kind of adjustment curve where even if they end up being great, this season might still be a little rocky in pass coverage. I look back to like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers around 2018, 2019, they just kept investing in the secondary. I remember watching them and it was like, oh, they have so much young talent. Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, they were kind of average. And then all of a sudden last year, they just have this elite secondary. I think Cleveland and Tennessee are in similar situations with the secondary where if they hit on some of these guys, I think they can be a real force, but it's going to be a bit of a learning curve, I think.
Yeah, well, guys, we're hitting that a little over an hour now, and I think I'm gonna start wrapping it up. And thank you to all in the chat. Thanks for watching, guys. Please go check out these guys' channels if you haven't yet. Titan Upload is a great YouTube channel. Content all the time, awesome content. He puts in a lot of work. His videos are awesome. No Flags Film does breakdowns of Titans players. As you hear on this show tonight, the dude is super knowledgeable. I'd love to have you back on, man. You got a lot of awesome knowledge, and would love to have you back on the show sometime. I'm sure we'll get together again. And but I really appreciate you guys coming on tonight. It's my first live show. It's going pretty good. I mean, it's 31 people in the house. Please hit that like button. Tighten up that like button. So, yeah, thank you guys for coming on. Any last words, last comments?
I got nothing, but thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Same, man. Great first show. And like I said, the fans in the chat were very active, and I thought you did a really good job of including them. And like I said, No Flags Film, nice to meet you as well. Very knowledgeable.
Likewise.
And it was a lot of fun. Rossi, you guys did really, really well. So shout out to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming on. And we'll see you again next time. All
right. Tighten up.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for commenting. Y'all have been really active. I really appreciate it. I'll read a few comments before we check on out of here. Let me go back a little bit. I wasn't trying to ignore you guys. Let's see. Sin City Titan said, I don't understand the Bills hype. I don't either. It doesn't make sense. JS75, the Bills can't run the ball. They can pass it. Totally true. They haven't had a good run game in years. I think LA will give KC a 5th this year. Keisha Bible. What's up, Keisha? Thank you so much for tuning into my show. I really appreciate it. I was at the Titans and Browns game last year. Such a heartbreaking game. They ran all over our defense. That was a horrible game. that was a really bad game. I try to forget that one. And they obviously got their revenge on us. Titan Bay, thanks for having a show tonight, Rossi. Hey, man, thank you for watching. You've been awesome. You've had a lot of awesome insight. I really appreciate all the comments you made. And, tune in next time, and go support these other guys. Like I said, you hear their knowledge. They're awesome. I remember that Sin City, Al Pierce, good stuff. Go Titans, kick massive tail. That's Al Pierce's little punchline. and he always says that. So I appreciate it. Al Pierce was my first ever sub. So thank you, Al Pierce. And yeah, Life with Devontae, what's up, man? Give you a shout out. We talk on Twitter a lot. Go check him out. Go check his music out. He also has a little podcast. Let's see. Let me roll down here. Sauce Monster, what's up, man? Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for all the support, Sauce. Really appreciate it. John Pacheco, hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much for tuning in. All the comments. Skidly Bop, I love the name. And yeah, good night to you too, my friend. And Raul, yeah, it was good meeting you the other day. Can't wait to have you on the show. And yeah, let's read Sauce's last. Oh, let's read John's. I appreciate you showing my questions some love. Been subscribed to all three of you guys. Looking forward to more content. Hard to get coverage out here in Texas, so taking this time means a lot. I completely understand. I'm in South Florida, so there's like no coverage down here at all. Sauce Monster, make sure to tighten up that like button if you haven't, guys. Yeah, thank you, guys. Yes, please tighten up that like button. Please subscribe. Stay tuned. We're gonna have more videos. I'll probably post at least one live video a week, and I'll still be doing my other little videos here and there. Like I said, there's been a good amount of people in the house tonight, and just spread the word, guys. Spread it on your Twitters and everything else. I'm a diehard Titans fan. I love the Titans. I've been a fan ever since they were in Vanderbilt. Our next stream will be, I think, we're gonna have Raul and Titans Mafia on, and can't remember if we're gonna have somebody else. Am I missing somebody else? I'm sorry if I am. I think we might have a little show with Sin City Titan coming up. We got some business to take care of as far as moving and stuff, but maybe we could squeeze in a little show there. I don't know what to talk about it. But anyways, maybe we'll go live on the 6th on Friday night. I'll see what those guys are up to, but maybe we'll do a stream then too. So yes, Sauce Monster, will you have on Mr. Titan? Yeah, I would love to have Mr. Titan on. We've talked about it. He said he would love to come on the show. Check out Mr. Titan too. I actually link his I actually put a link in the description to his merchandise. I have a Mr. Titan shirt. I wear it sometimes. You can see it during the videos. And we're all part of this. We're all family. Mr. Titan, Titan Upload, Titans and Truth, Tennessee Titans Weekly, No Flags Films. He's joined the bunch now. So yeah, all these guys. Anybody I forgot, I'm sorry, but yeah, all these guys out there, Ken Moore, who are putting in work, who are helping to keep our name relevant, because we know nobody else is trying to keep the Titans name relevant. So we got to do it. The fans got to do it, and I'm a fan at heart. So we're gonna stream from the Bucks game too. I would love to do that somehow. I know me and Titan Upload have talked about doing something Sin City. I would love to do something. I don't know what we could do, because I know we couldn't do it inside the stadium. Maybe we could like do a tailgate thing and stream during the tailgate. We could set up a little thing. That would be cool. So yeah, me and Sin City will be at the Tampa Bay game, the preseason game. It's going to be awesome. We would definitely be sharing content there. It might be kind of a few live videos here and there, something like that, but we'll definitely get some content out to you guys. We've been trying to make the practice, but apparently they're not letting people in, and hopefully Sin City can pull some strings for us. You know what I mean? Get us in there one time with some connections he's got over there in Tampa. So anyways, guys, I'm going to sign off here. I want to say thank you. Thank you for watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. I know most of you guys have already subscribed, and yeah, but I really appreciate you guys watching tonight. It's been a great show. It went off a lot better than I thought it would. So I'm pretty stoked about it. So thank you guys again, man. You guys rock. So like I said, this channel is a part of the Titan Upload Network. We're connected, and as we say here at the Titan Upload Network, tighten up that like button. Let's go. Appreciate y'all watching. See y'all soon.